And here's my arch nemesis, the overhead squat. And you can see me here doing some overhead shrugs, and the purpose of this is to help improve my upper rotation on my shoulders. I think one of the issues that I've been having that's been giving me problems with my weak left shoulder has to do with not having upward rotation. One thing I've done in the past, and something I coach and overcoach, is pulling the shoulders back and down. And then I learned that's not the right way, or it can be overcorrected, meaning that if you overly pull the shoulders back and overly pull the shoulders down, you can actually cause your shoulders to get depressed more. And when they get depressed more, it makes it very difficult for them to upwardly rotate when you're doing like an overhead squat, which is not really a major movement for what my needs are. But I think it's important to be able to do, because it kind of tells you what your deficiencies are and kind of what you need to work on as far as when it comes to mobility. It's kind of a full expression of human movement if you think about it, simply because, or I should say human flexibility, because it's just such a tough position to be in when you are immobile, whether it be the lower or upper half. Now, the one thing I have noticed in the past is that I used to have some neck problems with the levator scapula, and when I did overhead squats, it kind of helped it, oddly enough. You would think overhead movement would make my levator hurt more. And the only reason why I did levator scapula, or I did overhead squats in the first place, was because I couldn't deadlift. This was last year. And I just wanted to do something else. I had to back off, kind of like I'm backing off a little bit. Not quite, but I'm backing off a little bit. So I decided to figure out a way to, have fun and still work out. Because when you can't do the stuff you want, you just rather not do anything sometimes. Depends on kind of what kind of person you are when it comes to working out. But I've noticed that with all this depression and shoulder blade retraction has overly caused my shoulder blades to get really back and down, especially the left side. And I think that's a big part of why that serratus anterior and the shoulder weakness, the shoulder rotator cuff has problems being stable. So kind of what I'm trying to do is see if I can fix it and make it stronger by going into ranges of motion I typically don't train, doing more high rep stuff with kind of bodybuilding, muscle building exercises, or more high rep stuff like overhead dumbbell presses, lateral raises, external rotation rehab exercises with the shoulder, and of course overhead squats, because this actually kills two birds with one stone. Because in the future I do want to do some snatches, and if I'm able to do this with some weight easily, then it's going to tell me how well I can do, because I'm able to front squat almost 300, I think 270, 285. I think my best is 290 with the front squat. So that kind of tells me the limit on what I can clean. I can probably clean all the way up to 290, which is not true, but I mean, it tells me where my bottlenecks are. With the overhead squat, it tells me where I can snatch, or at least from catching it from that bottom position, which of course is a totally different beast in itself. But if I can't do this with 95 pounds, I probably shouldn't be snatching with 95 pounds if I want to be able to get the most out of a barbell snatch. But in the meantime, I'm using this to help strengthen my rotator cuff, really work on my flexibility. And another thing too, if you think about it, it actually helps open up that pec minor. Just getting those shoulder blades to move the way they're supposed to, and allow them to do more stuff that they normally don't, especially when you're just doing a lot of bench squat and deadlifting. So question of the day: what exercise is your arch nemesis? An exercise you should do more of, but don't do because you suck at it, but you need to do more of it? Comment below.